the evidence of God's existence is self-evident. Now, some of you said cop-out. No, not cop-out. Actual truth. It's actually truth. Self-evident.
If it's so self-evident, why are there so many people who don't believe it? And I don't just mean atheists. Plenty of people believe in other gods, deities that don't behave a damn thing like yours. Or people who believe in mindless, pantheistic forces which created the universe. How can those beliefs possibly exist if the existence of God, of your God, is so self-evident? Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. So, it's that Bible on the bed guy again. The number of jokes, mostly implying masturbation, that you guys came up with for that, you're all a bunch of sick motherfuckers, my viewers. That's the basis of your appeal. I'm just saying.
There is ample evidence of the existence of God, and this is self-evidence. It's not proof. It's evidence of the existence of God. So let's go further with just that.
Before we do, let's get something clear about what does and does not constitute evidence. If it really is evidence, then other people could check it, independently, impartially test it. Saying that your contribution to the God's existence evidence pool is self-evident is like a prosecutor saying to the jury, "No, I can't prove he murdered his wife. I'm just really, really sure it was him. I rest my case." Explain to me how you think that would work. And if it wouldn't, then why is it suddenly valid when it comes to God's existence?
There's a reason why there are so few atheists, why so many more people tend to think that there is a God than atheists.
Yes, tradition and the fear of the unknown, and hope for a little deus ex machina. Humans are emotionally fragile creatures, and precious few have the disposition for science. It offers no easy answers, and even if they are answers, science takes work, while believing in God is easy.
There is evidence of the perfection of life, the perfection of what we live in.
What, are you kidding me? We've got diseases out the wazoo, cancer, natural disasters, extreme weather, birth defects, starvation, allergies, predators, William Shatner. It seems like the entire world is trying to kill us, or at least make us really, really uncomfortable. Perfection, my well-toned and shapely hiney. If this is your idea of a perfect world, I'd hate to see what a royally shitty one is like.
And what do I mean? Like a perfect symphony, a great painting, a sunset. Most people look at these things and it bears witness deep in their heart. And they say, well, surely we can't be some sort of cosmic accident.
Accident and deliberate creation are not the only possibilities. There are other options. There's this pretty kick-ass video game that just came out called No Man's Sky. It's set in space, and you fly to and land on different worlds, and each of those millions of worlds in the game was created with an algorithm that would use certain rules to create each world. Those worlds weren't deliberately created, but they weren't random either. I spent a tiny portion of my teen years trying to learn to program games. I started in BASIC and then moved to Pascal, and then found my calling as an animator instead. But games often rely on random number generation, like a computer-rolled set of dice. But computers actually can't generate real random numbers. They're made using what's known as a seed number. If you tell the computer to produce 10 numbers based on the number 3 as the seed, it will always generate the same set of 10 in the same order. So instead of always using the same seed number, when the computer needed a random number, it would look at what time it was and use that as the seed number. The numbers look and seem random, but they're not. They're just beyond the human ability to predict. It's the same with dice. If you were to throw a 6-sided die in exactly the same way, under exactly the same conditions, it will always land on the same number every time due to the scientific rules of the universe. It's only the human inability to predict what gravity, velocity, and impact will have on an object of that mass, shape, and volume that we're willing to use them as seemingly random number generators. What's my point? That the universe is just as procedurally generated as the universe in No Man's Sky. It's not random. The universe is as much at the mercy of science as everything else. In fact, a case can certainly be made that everything we are, everything we do is predetermined, including our inability to predict a lot of it. In other words, free will is itself an illusion. So don't keep on with this "we can't be an accident, so it must be God" crapola. The evidence we have regarding the nature of the universe would suggest a third alternative.
There's got to be some deeper meaning to this. There are too many things that are too beautiful or too right or too... It all just seems so perfect. Surely there's got to be a reason for all of this.
Just because you happen to think it's nifty? Seems a heck of a leap going from "wow, this is cool" to "magic man in the sky."
We can't just be random blips, and that's why people rebel against that idea that we are accidents, cosmic accidents, because it violates something deep in their heart. It goes against something deep within them.
Okay, so it makes you cranky and starts poking at your ego. Doesn't your God tell you to be humble? I'm just saying. But when you say we can't just be accidents, when you say there has to be more, what I'm really hearing you say is, it's not fair. You're not as important as you think you should be, and instead of accepting your tiny place in the universe, you, as you said, rebel and insist that you're more nifty than that. But it's not the truth. Not for you, not for anybody.
And it's very simple in most people's minds. Hearts, rather. There's got to be a God because I look at mountains and I see things that I just can't explain, and I think something had to have created this.
So because you can't explain it, God must have created it? Listen to yourself. You're saying that because you're too ignorant and or stupid to understand something, it has to have been God. Would you accept that answer for anything else? I don't understand X, so it happened because of the thing I feel is most responsible. I wish there were a term for something being so illogical that it passes illogic and goes into hyper-mega weapons grade illogical. 'Cause that would be this.
Now, automatically I hear the atheist getting upset. Well, that doesn't prove anything. No, it's not intended to prove anything. It's just evidence in favor of the existence of God. I agree, it doesn't prove anything. They could all be completely deluded, granted. But it is evidence in favor of the existence with God.
The only thing it's evidence of is how badly people want their religion to be true. Feelings prove nothing about the world outside your mind. As you said, they could all be deluded. I ask again, show me any other case where feelings are evidence of anything other than themselves and the state of mind of those experiencing them. The only possible way feelings are evidence of anything is if someone is conducting experiments trying to deliberately trigger them within the brain, or possibly some sort of reaction to a medication, something purely physiological.
If you start making a legitimate search for God, if you say to yourself at some point in your life, I need to know, or I must find out, or I've got to look for God.
So a legitimate search, in your world, is starting from a state of mind that is ripe prey for suggestion bias. In my world, a legitimate search is conducted when one is willing to consider all possibilities, even if they are biased for or against one of them, as long as they're open to accepting evidence for that which they're not predisposed to believe, or at least evidence which contradicts their preferred outcome. That is a legitimate search.
One of the ways that the Bible describes it is it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The first inclination of your heart that there is something out there, there is some sort of being or something, is the beginning of wisdom.
It always comes down to fear, doesn't it? Fear of the Lord, fear of hell. And apparently the first step toward wisdom is believing in the existence of something on the basis of a feeling of awe and wonder. I find myself left quite speechless.
And remember, if it can't be in your hand, it's all in your head.